Yeah, hello, my good friends. Today, outstanding evidence coming in from Peter Thorstenson, I believe is how it's pronounced. And he sent me this map from, it's an old map that was being auctioned off. And he noticed the pyramids were on top of these plateaus, indicating that they were built on plateaus. Now, where are we talking about? Well, guess where we are talking about? That's Cairo right there. It's Cairo. You see, they call it Babylon. Babylon, Egypt. And this map, boy, I think it was 1500 and something. I'll see if I can get a detail on when it was. But it's quite obvious. This is the Nilus River. And that was that little strip of land that Herodotus talked about in this particular land. So, things to take away from here. We've got these pyramids on top of plateaus. Now, they all look like they thought they were trees, as a lot of people do now, and which they are not trees. They are the feet of giants. Well, actually, there's a giant sticking out of that. I just noticed that. Now, is that the Sphinx? Or is that like an actual, did they mean there was a giant that was there originally? I don't know. Probably the Sphinx. Who knows? But my point is that I've been saying the pyramids were built from the top down. These things were up here. They took all the little bits and pieces and they moved them down. That's how they were built. They weren't built from the bottom up. Now, the other thing to take, and I'm going to show you a video that I did a video several years ago, and it just sat and sat and sat, and then I did another one just recently because this is coming back around again. I sort of revitalize them as the topics come back around because they've just been ignored. So I threw this out. Peter sent me this fabulous map, and there's a lot to understand about it because there's a lot written here. I don't know what all that means, but I can tell you what that means because I can see it with my eyes. And that means that these things were built down, not up. They didn't carry all the stuff up to the top of a plateau and then build it up. That's insane. They were up and they built it down till they hit the base. And that's where they are now. All right, this is the recent one I did. I just did this November 25th, and then Peter responded with that picture saying, hey, guess what? They were built from the top down. So I'm going to just play this for a second. Well, maybe I'll just let it run a little bit and you see, and then you can go up and watch it yourself. Here goes.
And so here, clinging to the pyramid, are these very irregular pieces set in great globs of mortar, just as fill, and you can see it. You can see the slop factor in the pyramid.
All right, he's talking about a slop factor. Once they take off all these casing stones and they get inside to they didn't work with that too much. They just stripped everything away and piled it all back in and then put this up because they had extremely solid base.
So what may look like shoddy workmanship is in fact another secret that helped the Egyptians succeed with their colossal build. But it was only Merer's brilliant limestone that would give the pyramid its perfect appearance. So this had to come from faraway Tura.
All right, really what it sounds like to me is that they are admitting the fact that these things were built from the bottom up, and now they're just concentrating on the capstone. Because the capstone, the white limestone, totally different limestone. However, I don't necessarily know that they had to go anywhere special to get this. That should have been everywhere. It's marine limestone. This whole area was a marine area at one time. I'm almost certain. And this limestone would have probably been somewhere in that vicinity as well. I'm not certain of that, but they claim they had to go way away to pull all this stuff down, and that's how their focus is in now. It's two different types of limestone. The internal limestone is a basalt limestone. It's CaCO3, which is calcium carbonate, which is the same as this, but this has no impurities in it. This has no kaolin clays. It has no other minerals that are just floating around, like minerals that are in a creature's body. This is shells, basically the shells of seashells, and all accumulated. And the CaCO3 is the part that doesn't erode under the ocean. It forms a block. And that is what they carved to create this. And it would have been spectacular looking, yes. But my point, and the only reason I'm even talking about this, is because I've been saying that the giants are feet. They're feet. And they were in the ground, and they were limestone, basalt, hex columns sticking up. And when they started excavating, when they went down into them, they would come back into tender stone. The stone inside of these gigantic feet wouldn't be that hard to remove. So, they look and they say, oh, they chiseled this out with all that. No, they could do it with their fingers, half of this stuff. A lot of this stuff was literally done with fingernails, sticks. That's simple. And, come up here and watch this. But down deep inside here, this is where they excavated all of the limestone out. And there's always going to be an artery going down into the ground, and that's where they got their water from. The artery has no restrictions to it, the blood flow. And it is a soft center. So it either purges by itself, and you get plumbing automatically, and the water will come up from way down deep in the ground through that, and there'll be a level it will rise to. And you see them all over the world. You say, well, how'd they get that pool up on the top of that thing that has a tiger's paws in the front? And I looked at that, and that could be very interesting too. But anyway, at the top of it has a little pool up there, and it stays there forever. And they go, oh, how does that happen? And all over the place they say that. Well, it is pressure from the groundwater. Same thing with Machu Picchu. That was a tendon, and straight up through was an artery, and at the top it dribbles out through the top during the rainy season. They catch it in cisterns and little tanks and so forth. They know what they were doing. And then in the rainy season, go bad, they just get little dribbles coming out of there, maybe nothing. But then again, when the rainy season came, there's pressure in the ground, up it comes. That's why they were always built on and the same thing down in South America. All of those pyramids built on top of tendons, every one of them that I can determine. And that's why they say, oh, they're always limestone. Yeah, they're limestone because that's what tendons are. Then right about 8 minutes or so, I go into this. There's a place in France called the Geopolymer Institute, and they checked out all of the stones, and they did the chemistry on it, and they realized that the internal part of the pyramid is limestone that's from tendons, and the outside is the limestone that has no kaolin clays. Kaolin clays are slippery little synovial, slimy sheaths that cover all the tendons, and that's the major difference that they saw. Now, I'll just play this for a second. It goes from above. Now, I go through the whole thing here about the chemistry and all of the different. This was from my first video, so okay. This talks about the kaolin clay, which is only in terrestrial limestone. Here's the deal with limestone. It is the connective tissue structural component of creatures. It forms shells and structural components in fish and little little marine creatures. And it also forms tendons and connective tissues and so forth in animals. That is what limestone is. CaCO3. It is in your body, and it is in the body of those other creatures. However, it's in a flexible form when it's in your body. When you die and it stops being serviced with the things that keep it flexible, it becomes invaded with other molecules, and it turns into limestone. All right, now a point I have to make is this happens in salt water environments, and bones are dissolved in saltwater environments. That's why there's no bones. You say, well, how come there's no bones in these mud fossils? Because they were fossilized in salt water, long duration, waterlogged conditions, which dissolve bones. That's what happens. The bones are extremely reactive to salt water. They're isolated in your body. Your body is semi-salt water. It's above 7.7. It's 7.35, 7.45, right in that range. Now, that means that the salt in that would attack your bones, but your bones inside your body are actually wrapped away from the rest of your body. So the rest of your flesh wants to be salty. So it doesn't decay in these saltwater conditions. It sort of preserves it because of the salt water. The bones, totally different. The bones now transition into what they call source rock, which is totally different than bones. You don't see the bones. The only time, I'll show it one more time. Hold on one second. All right, this is a mud fossil bone, and it's the head of a bone. That's where the ligament attaches, and those are all the little holes in there that are the tendon ball places. That's the cartilage, and it has all of the places where your blood is and everything. But this is what happens to bones. You see that? That's the only last piece of bone that's left in this whole thing. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's there, just barely visible. But that's what these are. They're mud fossils. You don't see bones. You don't, but you see the entire structure of the complete organs. And the fascia, which is in this place, it's what they call, I believe they call this the periosteum. Ancients called it the tunica that wraps this up and keeps these bones preserved, is what seals the surface and actually keeps them separated from all the other components of your body, exactly like it does when you're dead, I mean when you're alive. In death, that's why all of those fibers in the tendons separate all by themselves and you get those little squares. You see that? That's the fabric right there. You see that triangle wraps right around this and holds all of these bones are sequestered away from the rest of your body because they are the things that get destroyed, not the flesh. All right, this is the place where my friend Peter got that map from that displays the pyramids being built on tendons. Now, if you look at a lot of these maps, they show all of these ancient creatures, the fish. Look at this. See over here? These giant fish and things. They're going to show things that are people knew existed here and there that were talked about in the past. And they have these fabulous maps, 1695, 1500, 1600s. And that's where this one here came from, the Cairo map showing the tendons and the pyramids. All right, so I suppose that's about all I have to say about it. It appears that it's pretty well supported. And then out here I go on a little further about this and that, showing the tendon fibrils, and these are all the different tendon fibrils that are in your body. There's a wrinkle zone at the top, like here at Devil's Tower. You see the wrinkle zone up there at the top, and that's the kaolin clays. I show all this stuff, so you come up here and look at it. But there it is right there. There's a zinc wrinkle zone. That's where it comes, wraps right around the ankle of the foot. So, and I understand, I show all this in great detail, so it's not something I'm guessing at. All right, so anyway, Mud Fossil University, come up and make sure you thumb up if you think it's doing good, and make sure you sub if you'd like to sub. All right, see, that's the wrinkle zones. And now I can't help myself. They talk about ring stone. Ring stone is tendon. Tendons are normally pulled tight like this, and that was originally tight, and when it got cut at the wrinkle zone, it goes doing, and so this probably won't ring, but where it's still stretched like a guitar string, ding ding ding, that's how they ring, and they'll ring in different tones depending on the thickness and the tension that's on that particular strap. All right, Mud Fossil University, God bless you, I love you all.